Hey folks, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of your favorite, and I know it's your favorite because you're watching, your favorite interview series with Southern Gospel music artists. This is On the Couch with Fouch. I have my buddy Josh FEEMSTER with me today. Thank you, Josh, for joining me.
You're welcome.
We are looking forward to a wonderful interview. Those of you that have not watched the interview series before, let me lay it out for you. This is an interview series that is driven by social media. I go on to Facebook and Twitter and say, what do you guys want to know about insert the artist that I'll be interviewing. So today I have Josh with me, and I went on Facebook. I said, guys, what do you want to know about Josh FEEMSTER? And I got a ton of questions from people.
Really?
Most of them were very good. There were a few not so good questions, so we kicked those out. We picked some really good ones for you. I know you guys are going to love this, and they're going to be easy ones for you.
Very good.
I think, and we're going to have a good time. I just want to tell these folks before we start where they can find these interviews. When we do concerts across the country, just about every night, I have someone that comes to me and says, I love your Fouch couch. I watch your interviews, something like that. But the majority of them don't know where they don't know where they saw it. They can't remember. They don't know how to find it. So I want to tell you guys right now how to get the interviews. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and like the Matthew Fouch Bass Singer page. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then you can go to onthecouchwithfouch.com. Sign up for the email list. That way, every month when a brand new interview comes out, it comes directly to your email inbox, and then you can watch it whenever you have the time to watch. What do you think about that endorsement there?
It's amazing.
Pretty easy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's simple.
So they can
Even
go.
I could do it, which is,
Have you done it?
yeah.
Of course. How many of these have you actually watched?
I've watched a lot of them.
And the best one has been?
Well, they're all amazing. Let me think. Let me
Are you
think for
sure?
a second. Yeah, they're very good. I really liked the one with Howie because he told about the sheet cake.
The Sheet Cake Story. You've got to watch that. That is a good one. Scott Howard, Legacy 5. Baritone, Sheet Cake Story. If you haven't heard it,
Baritone's
it's
funny, man.
awesome. So we are in San Juan, Puerto Rico today.
Right out there, and it's beautiful.
And we are on the Holland America New Amsterdam cruise ship
New.
for the Gospel Music Celebration Cruise. We're having a wonderful time. Have you been to San Juan before?
Last year,
Yeah.
I had not been with you guys long, and we came on this cruise and came here. Very fascinating island. The fort, that whole. Have you been down to the fort?
I have.
And toured that. Wow, it's amazing.
I'm planning on going again today.
Are you?
Yeah,
Good.
I think I'm going to go down there and check it out again. It's been a few years.
Very
Maybe
good.
it's changed.
I doubt it.
So if you haven't been on a Gospel Music Celebration Cruise, you should come with Legacy
Yeah.
5 sometime. We have a great time.
It's a lot of fun.
Beautiful weather and wonderful stops. Okay, enough about all that. To the interview questions. So one of the main questions that several folks asked was about your history in gospel music. There's a lot of people that don't know
Right.
about your history, and they're like, where did he come from?
Yeah.
So tell the people where you came from.
So I grew up in a singing family. That's pretty. It's pretty similar to a lot of other artists. It's in your history and your heritage. So my mom and dad sang in the Alabama area. North Alabama is where I'm from. They sang with my aunt and uncle. Actually, my uncle sang bass, and my aunt played the piano. Then they had another singer. But they would every weekend, from the time, as long as I could remember, they were singing, and I would be with them, be on the bus with them, traveling from place to place, just regionally. And so it was just something that I did. When I become fascinated with the drums early on, their drummer was named Kenny Holmes, and Kenny had this awesome Ludwig set, stainless steel set, just an incredible, very valuable drum set now. But I loved him, and I loved those drums. And when I was about 4 or 5, they bought me my first drum set.
Wow.
So I learned to play the drums, started playing for them when I was around 10 years old. And then when I was about 15 or 16, you know who Bill Lawrence is?
Yeah.
Sang with Gold City and Brian Free Insurance. Well, Bill was singing with my mom and dad. And he heard me in practice around 14, 15 years old. Just the baritone singer was having a problem getting this part, and I was over there. It's kind of frustrating to me because I could hear it. So I was over there just kind of humming along, singing a little bit. He said, "Why do you not sing?" And I said, I don't want to sing. I was just kind of embarrassed to be on stage singing. Sitting behind the drums was no problem, but to be out front.
Right.
So he really started pushing me to sing. And so when I was 16, I started singing with him. And just kind of sang for the next couple of years there with them. Then a group from Fayetteville, Tennessee called the Singing Ambassadors in '95 called, wanted me to come sing lead with them, and I did that for a little while. And then I just started singing locally in my area with some friends of mine until Gary Jones called with, you'll remember Gary from Gold City and producing and arranging. Gary was putting together a group called Mercy's Mark. So he called me to come sing lead with him. Did that for about 4 years and decided to come off the road for a while. And then eventually Gary shut that. About 2 or 3 months later, he decided to go ahead and put that group aside. And so then I was off the road for 8 years. And during that time, it was very interesting timing because I really wasn't 100% sure that I needed to leave, but I felt like I was supposed to do that. I felt like the Lord was leading me to come off the road. And my dad, who was normally healthy, had never had any health problems, 6 months later had a massive hemorrhaging stroke and passed away. So I honestly felt like the Lord was letting me come back and be in church with him and there, because I was with him every Sunday, every weekend. I was there with my dad. So it was really special to me to spend that time. He had always handled the music at our home church. So when he passed away, they naturally asked me to do it. And I said, I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to say no, but it wasn't something that I really wanted to do because I had planned to get back out and sing again. So I said, yeah, I'll do it until the Lord leads me in another direction or you find somebody who's actually qualified to do it. Mm-hmm. So then 8 years later, I was still doing it. And that's when everything happened with Legacy 5.
So through that story, you said baritone and lead.
Yeah.
But I never heard you say tenor.
Right.
So James Lovelace, thank you for your question, James. He wants to know, why did you decide to jump from lead to tenor?
Well, I didn't really decide to jump from lead to tenor. You know that story. During my time off from the road, I had started working with a vocal coach in Nashville named Brett Manning. Brett has the #1 selling instructional set, vocal instructional training set in the world.
And it's called?
It's called Singing Success.
And let me just ask, or let me ask you, and you can tell these folks, if at some point they're interested in getting that,
yeah,
how could they
simply
just
go
contact
to
you?
Well, they can send me a message on Facebook or email, whatever, or just go to singingsuccess.com.
Okay.
And it has all the information. It's an incredible that I had bought his original program, Singing Success, in about a year before I went with Mercy's Mark, and just started working with it. And I noticed my voice was getting better. It's becoming easier to sing, and it's basically just exercises for your voice to build your voice. People don't understand that you have to build your voice just like you would build your body, or just like you were training for a marathon.
Like going to the gym.
Yeah, it's the same process, and there's different parts of your voice that does different things. And if those muscles are out of balance, it won't work all the same. So he was really just a genius. He's become a great friend, but he's a vocal genius in how that he figured out how to do those exercises for the different parts of your voice.
Huh.
Started doing that, and then when I went with Gary, I ended up getting to go see him. He was very expensive. Got to go see him and started working with him. And for the next 10 or 11 years, every time that I would go work with Brett.
Wow.
So it was, and he opened up my voice so much. Literally, probably gave me probably a half an octave in my range with power, not just
Right.
so.
And that's when it went from lead?
Yeah, but it expanded it all.
As you got older,
both
which
ways,
is weird.
which is crazy.
That doesn't normally happen.
I know, but it expanded it both ways. So I had already started singing in a higher range because it was easier. I had more freedom in my voice in the higher range. But I never shifted my mind to say I was a tenor.
Right.
So that's how that came about. Started doing a hymns project with Gerald Wolfe. Gerald heard me, and some of that's on YouTube, some of those videos from us getting ready for that. But when he heard me, he would just stop and hold it. I'm like, oh Lord, what'd I do? What'd I mess up on? He said, man, just the power, your power. And then he said, I can't believe how high you are. So when we got finished that day, he said, I don't know why you didn't tell me you were a tenor now. And I said, well, I'm not a quartet tenor. I'm not your typical quartet tenor. So most quartet tenors are what would be called.
And he said, yes, you are.
Yeah, what would be called a lyric tenor, which your vocal cords are a little smaller. my vocal cords were bigger, like a lead or a baritone singer in our industry. But I was a tenor. I had the possibilities of singing higher.
Right.
So it would be called a dramatic tenor in the classical world, and that was a big reason why Brett wanted to work with me, was because there wasn't a lot of voices, that he didn't have any that he was training at that time. So it worked out really well. So Gerald said, "You're a tenor." Fowler showed up the next day when we were recording, and he said, "Yeah, you're a tenor." And they were all setting me up.
Setting you up, you didn't even know it.
Had no idea.
Can you believe that?
Had no idea. Until Fowler sent me a text the next day, and, "No, you're not a tenor, but I think we're going to need one. Would you talk to me?" So, and even at that point, I said, "No, I'm not your guy," because I just didn't feel like I could sing. Mainly, I didn't feel like I could blend with the rest of the group.
Yeah.
Singing that high, because it's a different
But you
sound. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
these
worked
people have been
well.
out to hear us.
Yeah.
In case you don't know, they may not know. Josh is now the tenor singer for Legacy 5.
Yeah, there
and
we
I'm
go.
the bass singer. So we sing together for the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you have been out, if you've heard us at an event or at a solo concert or anything recently, the blend is, in my opinion, obviously, I think the blend is great. I think it works out really well.
You know, when we got together at Trey's that night that I came up, that's what I was waiting on. I wanted to hear what it sounded like with my ears in the room. And when I heard that, then I kind of felt like it was right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, really.
Fernando De Paula, thank you for your question, Fernando. One of our Brazilian friends. He wants to know, what are the cares you take with your voice, and are there any products that you do not eat or drink to care for your voice?
I do very little dairy because it provides more mucus, and that can be a problem. So I don't do milk. We'll have some cheese, but not milk. And as far as, there's a lot I do to try to care for my voice. There's a few things. The number one thing is sleep. When you're the only time your voice ever repairs itself is when you're asleep. Then Brett actually has given me a lot of advice on things to do. Frankincense oil, rub it on your neck. It absorbs into your vocal cords, and it's an anti-inflammatory. So, a lot of singers do an Advil every night.
Frankincense. And
Well, I don't have much cold, but I've got some frankincense oil, and that has helped me a lot. But there's a lot that I do as far as warming up before, and you've heard that.
Yeah, I have heard that.
It's very loud, and
I
it's
can barely answer this question for him.
Yeah, there's a lot that I do before I sing, simply because I have to warm my voice up. It's my cords are bigger, and it just takes some time for me to warm up to be able to sing with power in that.
Right.
And I don't like that. I don't like my voice to ever break. Now, the bass singers, you would never know, because it's so low. But I'm exposed.
We're low down guys.
I've gotten in trouble so many times from our bus driver, David, and I'm sorry, but I'll be too loud on the bus just trying to warm up. So there's a lot of things. Fernando, feel free to send me a message.
There you go. Yeah.
Talk about that.
And you're very open to people sending messages on Facebook or email or whatever.
Yeah, I never want to be guarded.
Yeah.
Never want to be guarded in what we do.
Rick Schmidt would like to know.
Didn't he play for the Pacers?
That's a different. What would that be? A different decade. He wants to know your favorite sports team.
Well, there's no professional ball in Alabama, so it's definitely the Crimson Tide. Alabama Crimson Tide all the way. Now, we pull for the Atlanta teams a lot because it's close.
Right.
Close to us. And then my favorite team growing up, Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. So.
My question for you, your favorite verse, and if you can expound why.
Well, Romans 8:28 is my favorite verse. I know it's very popular,
right?
But that's
it's a good one though.
Yeah, it's understanding that everything is working in our favor when we belong to the Lord, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. I feel like there's a lot of Christians who simply are defeated, and they call out to God in desperation instead of understanding that He's there to benefit us daily, and He's already taken care of our needs, and we need to trust in Him more. And honestly, it would be great to see people be a little bit more positive about that, not worrying so much, and understanding that if you belong to Him, He will provide.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a great message right now for our country as well.
It is.
I mean, it fits so good in what a lot of people are going through and what they're facing.
Yeah, and I understand it's tough, especially with our crowd. You know, they're old. Some of them are older in age, and that can be hard. But understanding that there's a purpose, number one, for your life, and if you belong to Him, there's definitely a purpose for your life.
Absolutely.
And there's more to do. You know, I
Mhm.
see so many people that forget sometimes that we're supposed to be working and leading others to Christ, and there's a ministry for everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Daryl Plummer would like to know, thank you, Daryl, for your question. Has the bus left you behind yet?
one
A year
time,
and a half.
one time. Yeah, not like you. I think you've been left 3 times since I've been with the group. But one time, not too long ago, I don't remember where we were, but I was out walking, and I came back to where the bus was, and well, it was gone. So
We were gone. So yeah,
Thank God for cell
I have
phones.
been left, I think, 4 times.
I think you've been left twice since
in
I've been
four
with the group.
years. Four
Yeah.
times in 4 years. You've been left one time
Mhm.
in a year and a half. Scott Fowler has been left one time in 18 years. I don't believe Trey has ever been left.
Well,
and
Trey
Scott
never
Howard,
gets out of bed until
Scott Howard has never been left.
no.
So
It's usually Scott Howard doing the leaving.
mine's like, yeah, he's the one that leaves me behind. My average is one time a year. You'd think I'd get the hint.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Let somebody know. But I didn't know that we were leaving at that time.
Yeah.
So there was nothing posted, and our bus driver was actually up that day and he thought I was still in the bed, so he went back and he said he peeked in and looked like I was still in there. So I guess covers were all messed up or
And
something.
sometimes you just get left behind. Some people, not everybody. Your inspiration to come back and travel on the road and sing is?
So during the process of me being at my home church, I didn't understand because I was singing some things would people, some groups would obviously call from time. Nothing ever felt right, and some of them were good situations. So the last summer that I was home, we had a summer revival at our home church. Bailey Smith was in to preach, and Bailey preached his wheat and tear message that is very famous. Tons of people have come to, thousands upon thousands of people have come to Christ through that message. So I'm on stage leading the invitation. There's 30 or 40 people who have already moved, accepted
Wow.
Christ as their Savior.
Wow.
And as plain as day, the Lord said to me, "You've never accepted me. You've never surrendered to me." So when I was a little boy, I went down to the altar, Baptist church, went down to the altar. They prayed with me. When I got up, they asked me if I got saved, and I said, yeah. So baptized, and then for all those years, I really felt like that was it. But through that message, I understood that I had never, number one, truly given my life to Christ, and number two, I'd never surrendered my will to Him. I always tried to make things happen
Yeah.
in my own way, in my own time. So that morning, as I'm leading the message, or not the message, the song, the invitation song, we had a little pause, and Bailey was about to stop everything, and he said, there was one time before that we were in service, and I was about to end everything, and this fellow hollered out, "Preacher, wait for me." He said, "There may be somebody else like here." And the Lord literally told me, "You do it now." So I said, "Preacher, wait for me."
Wow.
I raised my hand, and I went to him, and I accepted Christ as my Savior. Truly surrendered my life that day in July. I'll never forget it. And as soon as that happened, all these things started unfolding to bring me back on the road that I had nothing to do with, literally nothing to do with. So when it all came about, I knew, Brandy, my wife, knew before I did. She said, "I knew the whole time that that's what you were supposed to do." So the Lord literally worked it all out. So that's my inspiration, is the fact that He just opened the doors exactly like they should have been in His time, the way He wanted it to be. And I had steps to take for my salvation
Yeah.
that had to happen.
Huh.
So that's it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Folks, you never know what you're going to hear from somebody.
Mm-mm.
And so I just want to say right now, like, maybe you haven't taken that step.
That's right.
It's time to open your heart and let the Lord come in and accept Him as your Savior and let Him take control.
Yeah, completely.
And surrender your will, like you said.
That's it. To me, that's the most important thing, is surrendering your will to His.
Yeah,
It changes everything.
absolutely. I love it, man. That's been great. I've enjoyed this interview.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for it. But it's time for the Fouch Zone. Here we go.
Great.
You have a certain unspecified amount of time to answer these questions. If you don't get the answer in the amount of time, we go directly to the next question. Are you ready? What are the odds of living to 116?
100 to 1.
Time. Shortest complete sentence in the English language is.
Hello.
Time.
Goodbye.
One word that rhymes with month is.
Don't know one.
Do you know two?
No. Skip.
What do you call the dot on the I? Time. All right, here we go. I'm going to give you an actual chance.
Where do you find this?
It's just random internet useless facts that you can find out there.
You're not smart enough to come up with the question. You're
No,
on, then
I am
find
not
that.
smart enough to come up, nor do I know the answers when I first read the question. What are the odds of living to 116? You said 1 in 100. I guarantee you 1 in 100 people do not live to 116.
You said odds. When you said odds, I was saying 100 to 1 regardless.
Okay. 1 in 2 billion.
Close.
Yeah,
I got
you know.
close. Hey, I answered.
There's 3 people in the world that lived 116 or something. Okay. The shortest complete sentence in the English language. You gave a decent try on that. Hello, goodbye. Go.
That's a sentence.
Go. Exclamation mark. Done. One word that rhymes with month is.
Yeah, I still don't know.
You paused for a moment on that one.
Well, I was just trying to think of, but what is it? Have you got one?
There is not a word that rhymes with month.
See?
So kind of in a roundabout way, you got that one right.
I got it right. Got one right.
And the last one, what do you call the dot on the I?
A dot?
The tittle. The tittle.
Wait a second.
Well, how come you
what's
I don't know.
The dot and the tittle.
I don't know.
See, I think you're wrong.
But that's called no. I actually looked.
So then, why is the saying that
some of them I don't actually look up the answer. It's just the answer's there, and I don't. This one I did.
So
I actually went and looked it up. The dot on the I is called the tittle. And I was like, every dot and tittle, or whatever you hear.
But it's the same.
It's like, well, there you go. Thanks so much for watching On the Couch with Fouch.
Oh, the things
Next
we
time
learn.
you do your writing and you do an I and you put the dot on top, just think, that's a tittle.
They named that after Old Man Tittle.
Thanks so much for watching On the Couch with Fouch. Go to onthecouchwithfouch.com, like the Facebook page, subscribe on YouTube. Josh, tell them where they can catch up with you.
Well, through Legacy 5 you can. JoshFeemsterMusic.com.
You have a solo CD.
Yeah, solo CD. The CD that I did with Gerald Wolf. It's just me and Gerald. Gerald's playing, I'm singing.
And they can come hear us.
Yeah.
Concert, legacy5.com. Our tour schedule is there. Thanks so much, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's great.
Take care. See you next time.